Aloha, Mrs. Smith's class. I am Jim Boone. I'm an entomologist, which means I study insects. And I live here in Hawaii, Honolulu, and I work at the Bishop Museum. And you can see part of the collection that I take care of. We have about 14 million specimens, so that's a lot of insects. And we have some really cool stuff that I'll show you real quick here. Here's some really cool insects that we have. These are from the Pacific and the Hawaiian Islands. We have some scorpions. We have specimens that are dissected, beetles, and we have some moths and some butterflies. Mrs. Smith sent me your great questions, which I will be answering today. The first one is, what is the strangest thing that insects eat? Well, there are over 1 million different kinds of insects which can feed on just about anything you can imagine. There are some insects that live in other insects. So these kinds of insects are called parasites. They live in live insects, which are called hosts. And they will eat the insect, the host, alive and then emerge as an adult. There's also insects that feed on blood, like mosquitoes and stuff, but there's also a moth that will feed on blood from different mammals. If there's a cut in the skin or if there's a sore, they will find it and suck blood, and these are called vampire moths. So those are really cool too. Question number 2, can ants fly? Yes, it's the males that have wings. For example, like these guys here, these are all males with the wings, and they fly once or twice a year. They emerge from the colony, and the queen also can fly. She's the largest ant in the colony and has the largest wings. The rest of the ants are females, and they're workers. They don't have wings. Next question, how do termites build those large dirt mounds? Well, the termites will mix dirt and their spit and create a mud, and then carry that mud in their mouth and start piling it on top of other mud to create the mound. And here are some pieces of inside a termite mound. You can see how muddy it looks, but once it dries, it becomes really hard. But it's not solid. It has air pockets in it, so air can go in and out like ventilation. Next question, are any insects helpful? Yes, there's quite a few that are very helpful, especially the ones that help produce fruits and vegetables for us to eat. One of the most helpful ones is the honeybee that pollinates all kinds of fruits and vegetables for us. Plus, they also produce honey, which we can eat. Here's a bunch of honeybees. These are all female. The adult bees that you're looking at will die after 6 weeks, so they don't live very long naturally. Also, they will lose their stinger when they sting you, and with that, part of their guts come out, so they die shortly after they sting you. There's also fungus and bacteria and other diseases that kill them too. So they die in various ways. If the queen dies, then the whole colony could die within 2 months because there's no more bees being produced by the queen. Next question, do any insects live underwater? Yes, and here's a few. These are giant water bugs. They live their entire life underwater. They're also called toe biters because they feed on minnows, and sometimes if you're in a pond, they think your little toe is a minnow and might try to bite it. There's also predaceous diving beetles that live their whole life underwater and will eat other insects. And then there are damselflies. So the immatures or the young damselflies look like this, and they live underwater. But when they're ready to emerge as adults, they live on land. So as immatures, they look like this and they're completely in the water. And then as adults, they look like this and they live on land. Same with the Dobson fly. The larvae or the young of the Dobson fly lives completely underwater, but then as an adult, it flies in the air and lives on land. Next question, are dragonflies the fastest winged creature? Well, dragonflies are the fastest insect, They can fly up to 35 miles an hour. The second fastest are the sphinx moths or the hawk moths, which at short distances can fly up to 25 miles an hour. The fastest animal or creature is probably the peregrine falcon. When it goes into a dive, when it's hunting, it can hit speeds of over 100 miles an hour. Your next question is, can insects get heart attacks? Yes, they have what's called a heart chamber, which pumps their blood throughout their body. We have what's called a closed circulatory system because we have veins where our bloods run through, veins and arteries. Insects don't have veins and arteries. Their blood runs throughout their body. And if their heart chamber fails, they will die. How do flies spit on you? Well, flies, especially the common housefly that you see here, don't have chewing mouth parts. So they have to spit on their food to make it soft or liquefy it. There's some kind of enzyme or chemical in their spit that makes their food really soft, so they can use their mouth parts, which are more like sponges, to soak up the food more than just chewing it, because they don't have chewing mouth parts. Next question. Do butterflies lose their colors when you touch them? Butterflies have what's called scales. Scales are modified hairs. So the hairs or the scales is where the color is. So if you touch the butterfly wing, the oils on your finger will actually remove the scales. And since the scales are at the actual color, you will be removing the colors. So yes, every time you touch a butterfly, you end up losing the colors. Here's some. These are monarchs. You can see how fainted they are. A lot of the colors are missing because they were either attacked by birds or they've just been worn off. But here's some that have a lot of colors. But if I was to rub my finger around this one here, then the scales would come off and it would look like this. Next question. Can an insect bite kill you? Well, a lot of insects have venom, and the venom can actually be really painful, especially from these wasps, which are called tarantula hunters, tarantula hawk wasps. Their venom is very powerful and hurts a lot. Same with some spiders. Their venom will hurt a lot. But normally people don't die from the venom of an insect bite because you can get medical treatment and that can take care of it. But there are some insects like the honeybee and other bees where people are allergic to them. So if you don't get medical treatment right away, you go into anaphylactic shock, you can't breathe, and it could be fatal. But as long as you can get help, medical help, then you'll be okay. Besides venom, insects can carry diseases like mosquitoes can carry malaria, ticks can carry Lyme disease and Rocky Mountain spotted fever, things like that. And if you get those diseases and you're not treated, then it can be fatal. What is the largest insect? Well, there's some beetles that are very big. You can see how big they are with my hand. These are scarab beetles. This one is really long. This is the Goliath beetle. So this is the largest beetle on Earth. Another Goliath beetle. This is a Hercules beetle. This is an Atlas beetle. So all these scarabs are very large. But the largest insect would be the Atlas moth. So here's my hand, and then here's the moth. So the moth is as big as my hand. That's the largest. And these are from Malaysia. This is the female, and this is the male. Males are a little smaller than the female. And that's the largest insect. Well, we come to the end of all your questions, and I want to thank you for allowing me to answer all your great questions. And I hope you have a great time learning about insects in Mrs. Smith's class. So I'll say mahalo, which means thank you in Hawaiian, from the Bishop Museum in Honolulu, Hawaii. Bye.